Okay, I'm on here doing a weeds of Western Colorado, um, and showing that weeds are. I mean, the thing is a weed pretty much is defined as anything that is a unwanted plant in a yard, and too many people get rid of so-called weeds when in actuality, out here you're supposed to have like if you're claiming conservation but yet you're putting in, a lot of people have a yard of centipede or zoysia or St. Augustine grass or these others, and they're all you realize you're planting a invasive grass, that is not part of the native system. Do you find centipede and all these others in native areas? No, you do not. You find native grasses. I mean, if you look at my yard, this is all native, or a lot of it's native. Some of the grass has been, I've added it, just trying to keep some kind of cover, because what plants do is they hold on to the soil, because when there's no soil, like you can see right here, with my yard, all of that, when it's blowing, as you can see the wind is blowing right now, all of that dirt starts flying into the air. So I'm trying to show you the benefits of a few different plants in the yard. So this is it has yellow, and it's this guy, and this is called flicksweed. And by the way, you should not take these unless you're very well versed with these plants, and also if you're taking other medications that could conflict with them. But this was taken for dysentery, and it was called the wisdom of surgeons, and I couldn't find out why. Um, so it's taken in IRAN, to flavor their thirst drinks. Like they would put this in their drink in order to flavor it, in order to give it a different taste. It goes from an antidiuretic to an aphrodisiac. So a it helps you. Yeah. Chinese eat them. It is native to Eurasia, in other words, Europe and Asia, and North Africa. It is naturalized in the U.S., and it tends to like well-drained soils in full sun, which is what this is. I mean, you can see little bits around my yard from this guy. This is really good for drought-tolerant areas and disturbed waste areas, which is this is. So it can be used for cough, asthma, bronchitis. It's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, rich sources of oil. So this sucker can actually be used for, it produces seeds, and you can use it as a biodiesel, which I didn't know until I looked it up. It is a forage crop for livestock, and it can outcompete natives and reduce biodiversity, reduce soil. But the bad thing is this can reduce soil nitrogen. So if you have clover, it may compensate for it, because clover, which I'm going to use in the near future, it increases soil salinity. In other words, it will increase the amount of salt, and it can potentially harbor aphids and flea beetles. So that is one of several. Moving on, so this little guy right here, I didn't know what it was, but you can see these little kind of almost feathery leaves. This is called stork's bill, or filaree, Filaree. In the 18th century it came here, and this, from what I've seen, it has a tendency to like more partial shade than full sun. It is a common weed native to Micronesia. It's also in temperate Eurasia, so Europe and Asia and North Africa. So a lot of these guys are from Europe and Asia. It likes to be in the southwest, or has kind of naturalized in the southwest U.S. and I didn't know about this, but it has explosive dispersal. In other words, it's able to blow out its seed when put under pressure. It's found in bare, sandy, grassy places, which this used to be. I mean, you can see that. And during the summer, all this stuff will die because of how how dry it gets. It's a food plant for brown Argus butterfly. It's also a food for harvester ants. Young leaves are edible raw or cooked, so you can eat them. And it's a valuable source of honey or nectar. The Zuni made a poultice. In other words, they crushed it up. A poultice is just you crushing it up, and they chewed the root for sores and rashes. And Zuni are from the Four Corner region of Colorado. It's like where the Navajo and the Hopi, I forgot what part of the Four Corner region that they lived. But yeah, but they are part of the Four Corner. And then the infusion of the root is for stomach aches, and these are grazed on by cattle, sheep, and goats. It's also eaten, the seeds are eaten by birds, kangaroo rats, rodents, and also desert tortoise. So this guy is nice to have because it's providing a home for a lot of things and can produce a green dye. So it's nice to have in your yard. But what I'm trying to do with this is to show you that weeds are, I mean, we use herbicides and stuff trying to get rid of them, when in actuality they're a lot better to have. So this is another one that's also in the east. It's called the Tree of Heaven. It kind of reminds me of sumac with the leaves, and can be confused, but as you can tell, the tree does grow pretty high up. I don't see the lamb's clover. But there's a lot of plants. I mean, you know, the seeds of like grass and that type of thing in your yard. I used to have lamb's quarter in my yard before it dried up and didn't make it. And I don't have a picture of it. So onward to the next plant. Okay, so this is a crossflower, and you can see right here, this is what's called a crossflower. It has these little crosses in them. It's a purple flower, and the stem is, it feels and looks hairy. And it has these kind of different shaped leaves. But it's also called mustard. It's another one that can be eaten. Sorry, my dog is hounding me. But it is also native to Eurasia. Can give a bad taste to milk if livestock eats it. Reduces and can reduce grain yields. It is for disturbed soils with poor soil. So these plants basically are in areas where other things may not grow. And I would rather have plants to hold down the gravel in the soil than to not have anything. Like I said, I mean, we've lost a lot of soil, like you saw earlier, on our front because we didn't have anything holding it back. So I've basically gotten different plants and put them on our soil. You can eat it in large quantities. It is adaptable. In other words, it can be in a wide variety of areas. And it has a wide range from all the way from the Mississippi River west. And it also has, likes to be in the Midwest, so like Ohio, and it goes all the way across to like Pennsylvania. And it attracts small pollinators because of the flower, like flies or bees. It is drought tolerant, so perfect for out here. And you can eat it, which is what I said earlier. And most grasses like that you see here, all the, like this is the grass that is in the ground. And most grasses, from what I've seen with survival books, you can potentially ground them up and eat them. And it's helpful to have. But there are lots of plants and stuff that are in our yard and growing. So the lamb's quarters I can't find, but we did have it, and it's actually really good. It's a purifying plant. Maybe I can find it over here. Nope. But lamb's quarters, if you want to look it up, it helps restore nutrients to poor soil. It's good to have. I used to have some in this area, but I don't have it anymore. It kind of has like a petal shape leaf, and it spreads quickly because one plant can produce 75,000 seeds. It's everywhere, and everything on it is edible. However, you have to be careful of oxalic acid, which can be cooked out, but you just have to eat it. But if you're starving, I mean, yeah, it's probably, you're going to eat it anyway. But I used to have some in this area, but I don't see it anymore. It's toxic to sheep and pigs, but in cattle it may affect the milk taste. It's used for skin inflammation, bug bites, sunburn, minor cuts, and rashes. So in other words, for skin-related issues, diarrhea, stomach aches, scurvy, which was bad back in the day, gout, degenerative diseases, antioxidant and antibacterial, and it has vitamin A in it and loves disturbed soil. And I don't see it. I'm looking for it, but I don't see it. So it was in here. You can see the dandelion right there, and I'm going to do it on another video. You can see, so those are clover. Clover has the three leaves, the three rounded leaves, and it is great to have on your ground. A lot of people here, it does require water. Like my neighbor likes to water it very often, and so but clover, what it does is it puts nitrogen back in the soil. It's in the legume family, and puts nitrogen back in the ground. And legumes are like your beans and that type of thing. But yes, I'm just basically walking around my place, and since we're on plants and stuff, so this is a mulberry. You can see how it has the lobes on the leaf. However, some of the leaves can be more full, like this. You can see how, sorry, my camera is, but yeah, it's very distinct with when you see lobes that are very lobed, kind of like that one where it's very deeply cut. You can see on this one that there are little berries that are coming out. This is really good to have in your yard. These berries taste like blackberries, and this one will be ready to go in about probably 2, maybe 3 weeks. So it's good to have in your yard as well. And we have obviously the flaxweed yet again, but onward, and I'm going to show you more as soon as I can find them. Okay, so I'm back on. So this is the clover yet again, and there's actually 2 different types of clover, and there are differences with the leaves, and I don't remember what they were, but you can see that there are lines on this. I think this is the red clover, but like I said, the clovers put nitrogen in the soil, so what the soil is saying is you lack nitrogen, so I'm putting it back. And then these guys obviously are dandelion, and they are, yeah, they're all over. And if you want to get rid of them, what I would suggest is picking them and eating them, because they're extremely good for you. And so just to give you, I mean, there's a whole lot on dandelion. So it reduces inflammation, has vitamin A, C, and K. It helps to detox the liver. It has antioxidants. It helps oxidative stress. there are things in our environment that can harm your body, and this helps alleviate a lot of it. This also helps regulate blood sugar, but can conflict with medications for diabetes. It's good for digestive health. It helps to lower cholesterol. It's an anti-cancer, and helps with healthy blood pressure. It's an anti-inflammatory, inflammatory, bone health, immune system. Helps to prevent urinary tract infections. Messes with certain meds, and sensitive stomachs may not be able to handle it. But obviously, it's a generalist. There's another one that looks very similar to it called a hawk's beard, that the flowers are different. These are the guys that have the stalks. You can see this one's already blown off because we've had wind. But these are good. They are consumed by a lot of things. So they're consumed by rabbits, turkey, white-tailed deer, chipmunks, quail, and other birds. And insects, butterflies like to be on them. And even though it's not in a lot of quantity, it does have latex in them. I cannot find the lamb's quarters around, but there's one other weed I'm going to try to find around. So okay, so this is plantain. This is another one that you can eat, and it sends up stalks that are around, but it has these big and very well distinguished because it does not have any serrations on the leaf, and you can see how the veins all go one way. It is a weed that everyone likes. And I didn't realize that these were mushrooms. Mushrooms are harder to identify, and it has to deal with the gills and the other things on the bottom. But that is plantain, and they can be in the east. And these are edible. However, there's a word of warning that you have to watch the pesticides on them. So just be very careful with where you're picking them. Okay, if I can fit it one more. This is a very familiar, very distinct flower. These are violets, and they typically come out in March and April. But you can definitely eat these. These are I guess some people declare them weeds, but they're not weeds. But you can eat these, and I've never eaten them, and I'm not willing to eat them here because there's too many herbicides being applied. But these are very distinct. They have a very noticeable flower that looks very distinctive, and it's very edible. This whole plant is very edible. So this is another plant that may be in your yard. It definitely does not like full sun. It likes partial sun, or in the shade, because this is in the shade. So onward. So these are more plantains, and okay, so this is white clover. You can see the head is white, and clovers are all provide nitrogen in dandelions. But my takeaway from this is that these weeds may not be in the place where you want them to be, and you're like, oh well, I want to get rid of them. Well, there's a whole lot of chemicals and stuff going into our food, and what better way than to eat what nature provides around you. So a lot of these so-called weeds that are around, you can eat most of them, and you have to be careful with medications and that type of thing. But God provides all kinds of food for us to eat if you would just look around you. And yes, they may not be in the place where you want them, but in order to control them, all you do is when they start seeding, you just can pull the seeds, and especially like dandelion, you can pull its little it looks like a puffball kind of thing, but plants don't come out unless there's an issue with the soil, and they point towards different issues. Like the flaxweed can take nitrogen away, but the clover that is around can provide more nitrogen for the soil. But these are plants that are here, and this is what you don't want. You don't want completely exposed sand, because what's going to happen is the wind here can blow, and what happens is when that wind blows, all that sand goes bye-bye. So it's better to have some kind of cover and trying to just control the cover crop on top of it, instead of losing that dirt. And what farmers are learning is to have winter cover crops to where they can cover their land, because what happens is if they don't have something to cover during the winter time, all their dirt and good soil goes bye-bye. And it's just like with and I found that it's insane that how we get rid of leaves and that type of thing instead of leaving them where they are and where they drop, because all of these little objects, you can get mowers and other things to destroy like the leaves and that type of thing, and in order to mix them back into the ground you have. It may look unpleasant for like a month, but the thing is you're providing nutrients and putting them back in the ground where they belong. What you try to get rid of is things like cigarette butts, which I think a lot of people don't realize is a maintenance trash item. But plants are there trying to support the area. There are plants that have taken over because they are this land is not used to them, and the conditions are ideal for them, such as, I don't see it, actually yes I do. So that's tamarisk, and that does very well along the bank, because what it does is it injects salt into the ground and makes it very hard for anything else to grow, and it is extremely hard to get rid of. You literally have to put tons and tons of herbicides on it, and it takes a lot of mechanical removal in order to get rid of it, but it has taken over the entire edges of most shorelines out here along the Colorado River. So thank you for joining me. God bless you all.